So I hope you guys have enjoyed the reviews I've done so far. I did the P30 a little while ago and said I'm kind of curious about doing some more of the ISDT chargers. The P10 and the P20 were two that I was looking at. Well, the good showed up. P20 finally became available. Now I've got it. Now I'm going to get into the review. Let's unbox it. All right, so P20 charger. From what the specs tell me, it seems like it's two Q8 chargers crammed into one case, and I'm pretty excited about that. I've got a couple of Q8s in my current charge case, and I absolutely love them. So when I saw this, I thought, well, hey, that's great. I can have that, and it's the same thing. A few quick specs. Input voltage, because it is an 8S capable charger, the input voltage is 10 to 34 volts. It'll output 1 to 34 volts. It takes an input current of 35 amps and charging current up to 20 amps on either port, but probably not at the same time. I'll get into more of that a little bit later. 500 watts per port, but again, not at the same time. I'll get into that more a little bit later. Discharging current is up to 1.5 amps on each port for your discharge, and that's only good for 15 watts per port. So 15 watts or 1.5 amps, whichever you get to first, which most people, I'm going to assume, will probably get to the 15 watts far before they're going to find themselves at 1.5 amps. It supports abnormal voltage, incorrect cell count. It does LiFe, lithium ion, LiPo, 1 to 8 cells, lithium HV, 1 to 7 cells, NiCad, nickel metal, up to 16 cells, and PB batteries up to 12 cells. It'll do 800 watts in parallel. That's when you parallel both ports together, up to 35 amps. And I will do that test when we get to it. And the parallel discharge power is 30 watts or 3 amps. Again, whichever one you come to first. Most of the time, you're going to hit the wattage before you hit the amperage. So what do you guys say we get into opening this box up and let's get a look at it. Here it comes. Just like all the other chargers, we got ourselves a manual here on top. Put that over here for now. Stickers, just like all the other ones. Looks like we got the charger here. And I don't have a Q8 handy to show the size, but I will get to that because of the screen protector, just like all the other ISD chargers. And looks kind of like looks a lot like the Q6. You got a channel 1, channel 2. You got your toggle switch to select. You got an XT60 output and an 8-cell balance port on the left side for channel 1, and the same thing on the right side for channel 2, which is kind of nice that these are on the same side. There's a lot of gripes from a few people about the P30 that had the XT60 output here and then the balance port on that side. And, again, the way you get around that is with a balance lead extension. So, moving on to the back side, you got your output fan, you got your USB-C for updates, and your XT60 for input. So let's go ahead and let's get this thing powered up. All right, I've got here an XT60 that's connected to some power supplies I've got sitting somewhere else at the moment, but I'm gonna turn it on. All right, looks like a lot like the P30. To get into your menu, you long press channel 1 and channel 2 together. That brings you into your advanced tasks as well as your system settings. The dual and parallel task we'll get into a little bit later, but we get into system settings, and we're looking here. We got your lowest input voltage from 10 to 31 volts. I'm running this off of a 24 volt power supply, so I'll set it 10 volts is fine. Max input power, again, Oddly enough, what's the difference in 50 watts? But I have a 1200 watt power supply feeding this, so we'll go there. The backlight, you can set to low, middle, or high. So there's low, medium, and high. And then your volume, same deal, low, middle, or high, or off. Completion tone, I love annoying all my friends at the field with this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at repeat, but you can have it at the end of the charge cycle, do a single tone to let you know that it's done, or a repeat. So again, I'll repeat it. Split screen, that's when you're sitting here and you select channel 1 and channel 1 shows up, you set all your settings. It'll wait 30 seconds of inactivity before it'll go back to the split screen and show channel 1 and 2. Information on bat go for channel 1 and channel 2. I don't have any bat go batteries, so if you're looking for that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be your guy on this one. Language, all sorts of different languages: Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, French, Dutch, and some other ones that I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. For now, I'll leave it in English. Theme: bright or dark. Bright is what you see now. Dark is the big one that they're very fond of, and so am I, quite frankly. So we're gonna go to dark theme. Keep trickle, just like all the other ISDT chargers. When the battery charge cycle is done, it's gonna keep trickle charging the battery until you pull the battery off, and you can turn that on or off. It defaults to on. Self-test, very important when you do a self-test. Make sure you don't have any batteries or anything connected to it other than your power input. But you can do that. It goes through, just checks everything. Buck boost, discharge balance test, and it is done. There it is, all passed. That's good news. So I go back here, we'll get back into the system settings. And channel 1 calibration. If you have a power supply that you know precisely what the voltage is, you'll put it in here and you can calibrate the voltage on both channels. Then in here is your system information, and then back to your main menu. So let's try hooking up a battery and see what it does. I'm going to try this out. I've got a Genzace 3300 3-cell here because it's quite literally the only battery that I've got with a XT60 connector on it. I'm going to get this plugged in here on channel 1 and let's see how it does. So it tells me right out of the gate, it's a 3S with cell voltage between 3.8 and 3.81 in the split screen mode. When I go to channel 1 directly, it gives me all of the information about it here. So it gives me all 3 cells, and let's get a charge cycle started. So long press channel 1 takes me to the task setting menu, which I'm charging a light. I'm going to charge, but it does have charge, discharge, storage, and destroy. But today we're going to charge. We're going to charge a LiPo. Again, it's got lithium high voltage, LiPo, lithium ion, LiFe, PB, nickel metal, and NiCad. So we're going to go ahead and go up here to LiPo. Condition, which is always a weird one. What they mean by condition is volts per cell. 4.2 is nominal. I always charge just a little bit above it, so the pack rests at a little bit higher. So 4.21, it automatically detects 3 cells. I've already got the current set to 6.6, which is a 2C charge on this battery. I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And it ramps up. And now, where I was talking about the split screen 30 second on the menu or in the settings, after 30 seconds of inactivity, this will split back to the middle and show you both channels. And during the charge cycle, it shows you the elapsed time the charger, and the battery percentage, the amperage, how many milliamps it's put in, the LiPo cell count, and there you see it's back to the split screen. We'll go back in here. You got the cell voltage come down. You've got the in this battery's case, quite terrible IRs, but your IR readings from the pack. And you come down here, and you can see I'm pulling 85 watts off my power supply, and it's putting in 78 watts into the battery. And there the fan's kicking on a little bit as we get started here. So that is charging a 3-cell. But what do you guys say we maybe charge some 6-cell packs and really put the hurt on this charger? I think so. All right, so to get started on charging some other batteries, I've got some XT60 to female banana plug adapters here. And I know on the other chargers, these ports are reversed, and it looks like it's the same here. So you got positives are here and negatives are here. So they are reversed. So I've got my charging leads here. We'll hook up my balance connector first. Make sure you get it in the right port here, or the right spot on the balance. Again, same deal, negative here, negative here. So got that, and I've got my trusty charge leads I've had for years that have EC5 and RC Pro Plus D6 on one end, and banana plugs on the other. And now we're going to go ahead and plug in a 12S HRB pack that I've put together here. All right, got that done. And it shows here 6S with voltages ranging. And if we come in here, we can start this, and I'm going to go ahead and go to 10 amps because that would be 2C on this battery. Start. Come over here. 10 amps, LiPo charge 4.21. Come down here and start. Check this. I feel like yep, okay, it was right. Start it up. It ramps up. And here it shows you battery pack voltage, how many watts is going into the battery, how many milliamps, temperature of the charger, and where your cell voltage is, range from lowest to highest. When you come into the menu, it comes in here and tells you a little bit more detail. It is pulling, currently this charger is pulling 386 watts off my power supply. That's because both channels are going. But this channel in particular is pumping in, let's call it 160 watts into the pack. And come over here to the other side. There you go. This is pouring 151 watts in, and 300 watts are coming out of the supply. And just like other ISDT chargers, you come in here, you get your IRs, which don't look great, but it's also a little bit chilly out in my garage right now. Come over the other side, and same deal. And this is almost a fully charged pack too, so that's the other thing that we're going to see. So yeah, we're here and we're charging, but I'm going to end this. And there, we've stopped it. Now, much easier way to do that. We can go in here, long press both buttons. We can come in here to the dual task, and we select dual task. And what this will do is you set all your, as long as you got two identical batteries, they don't have to be the same milliamp, but they have to be the same cell count. But I can go in here and hit charge, set my task to whatever I want. My chemistry, my cells, my cell voltage, rather, number of cells, current, and I can hit start once, and it launches both channels simultaneously. All right, so I did a quick little reconfiguration here to run a test on this as a parallel task. So to parallel these together, I've got this same port parallel thing that I've been using for this last number of years. So I'm going to go ahead and get that plugged in. Let's see if it'll even fit in this. It might not fit. Ooh, yeah, we got it. That is a tight fit right there. And then to connect the batteries in parallel, I've got my trusty old Rev Electrics paralleled safe parallel board. It goes to EC5s because that used to be all I flew. So I'm going to go ahead and get this over here, set this up here, and get this plugged in. Now, when you do a parallel task, you have to run your balance off of port 1 or channel 1, if you will. So I'm going to unplug this, and this is a parallel balance adapter as well, but we're not going to use the other side today. So get that plugged in there. Rest of this stuff safely out of the way. And let's get some batteries plugged in. I've got a separate or a different 12S stick here comprised of two 6-cell packs. I'll get these plugged in and see how it does. One thing I always like to do is I like to leave this stuff sit connected in parallel for a little while and let everything kind of normalize a little bit. But so to hook your ports up in parallel, you gotta have a little adapter like this here, and then you're gonna long press to do a parallel task. You're gonna long press channel 1 and 2 buttons. You're gonna come down to parallel task, select enter, and it must know me because honestly I've not been in this menu yet, but I want to charge. And another thing, when you're in parallel task, you can charge or discharge, but you can't go to storage. So heads up there. Chemistry, select the chemistry you want. Well, again, they're all here. I want to go to 421, and I've got 6 cells, and 2C on this is 20 amps, so that's correct. And we're going to go ahead and start, and it's off and running. And let's see here, it'll tell me, see the voltage ramp up, or the amperage, as the amperage ramps up, so does the wattage. And we're sitting here right at 475 watts going into the battery. Look at the milliamperage just climbing. Says the pack's at 64%. I don't want to charge this all the way up today, so I'm going to stop it. Long press. I can change the current here if I wanted to. See what 30 amps does. 30 amps on this pack is 3C, and we're still perfectly fine. There it is. Now it's climbing up to 30, and that fan kicks up a little bit more, and you can see we're at 730 watts. Packs are still cool. Let's go up to the max 35 amps just for grins. That won't get there because now we're at 800 watts. So you can only get about 32.5-ish amps out of a 6-cell battery. Again, because of how Ohm's law works, this will be different for every type of cell count you use, be it 6S, 7S, or 3S, whatever the case. It maxes out at 800 watts or 35 amps, whichever comes first. I'm going to go ahead and stop this because I don't want to charge these all the way up today. So that's how the the dual task and the parallel task work on this charger. I will show you DC power on channel 1 here in a little bit. All right, so channel 1 power, DC power. This is a way to use your charger as a DC power source for any sort of object. I've got here a 24 volt blower fan. So I'm going to go ahead and go into channel 1. And I'm going to set up voltage as 24 volts. Current 5 amps, sure. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And there it goes, just like that. And I can come in here and roll the voltage down, and you can hear the blower ramp it down too. I'll shut that off, and that is DC power channel 1. That is kind of the game with this charger. So I'm also going to put a stress test on both channels. I'm going to parallel charge 2 packs on each channel and push it to its limit, and we'll see how it does. All right, here we are. I've got 2 of these 6S 5000s that I'm going to put on this side, and then I've got the same 2 6000s, or two 6S 5000s I'm going to put on this side. On the left side here, I'm going to run this parallel adapter that I've had for quite some time. So let's get this connected. All right, everything is plugged in, and I'll let it sit here for a few minutes. But in the meantime, I can give you a quick little glance at what I've got going on here. So I've got 2 6S 5000s here, hooked up in parallel with the parallel balance, parallel mains plugged into channel 1. And then I've got over here, I've got the same stick that I was using, which is split into 2 6L 5000s in a safe parallel board by FMA and Rev Electrics, and hooked up here to channel 2. So now I've let these things sit what I feel is long enough. And because this is all the same batteries, they're all the same cell count, exact same milliamperage, I can do a dual task start. So press and hold these, dual task current. I'm going to go ahead and ramp it right up to 20 amps. There we go, 4.21 volts per cell. Start. There they both go. And let's take a look and see what we get here. Everything's ramping up. And just as I suspected, it's only an 800 watt charger. So yes, I can put 400 watts out of this port and 500 watts out of this port. I can't do it at the same time. Now you can see it's giving us a little bit more than 400, but now if I stop this side will ramp up, which is kind of interesting. So that ramped up to 480, which is the max amperage. So 2 6S 5000s at 2C, no problem off of each port, which that's a lot of power. There's a lot of power going on here. Come back over here, I'll start this, and this will ramp back down. Well, this ramps up, and this one here might ramp back up, but it won't because the batteries are getting a little bit closer. So that ramps up to 500 over here, and this throttles back. So if I press and hold them both, stop them both, and if I come back into dual task and start them again, they're going to both ramp up and be equal charge power to both sides. So it's giving me a little more than 400 watts, but that's about what I expected. So all in all, pretty pleased with this charger. Internal temperature starting to rise a little bit. What I see here is it's different on each side, so it must be the channel 2 charge circuit is at 113 and channel 1's at 116. Fans barely blowing out anything warm. It's a little bit warm. As you state, both these packs were pretty darn close to storage, if not at storage level. So it should ramp up and take care of these pretty dang quick. But it does max out at 400 watts per channel. You can see I'm pulling 846 from my supplies, or from the charger's pulling 846 from my power supply, which has dropped the voltage right down to 24 even. So that's this charger running full out. It's got no more to give, but you know, that's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive for what it is. So give you an idea of how the difference in size between this. I've got the P30 right here as well, and as you can see, man, there's not a whole lot of difference in size, physical size this way or this way. This way or this way. Not that much, but you spin them to the side, there's quite a bit of difference in size this way. So anyway, on the bench, this thing has turned out to be so far pretty good. What do you guys say we take it to the field and put it through a real world test and see what the guys at the field think of it and let a bunch of people try it. All right, so here's the deal. Plan on taking you guys out flying with me. I went out flying, had a good time. Totally forgot to start the time lapse of the charger being used and everybody using it. Totally ran out of time. We're having too much fun. And at the end of the day, I didn't leave the field with the charger. It went home with its new owner and a case that I'd put together just, you know, to take it to the field. Spare case I had laying around, my spare power supplies I had laying around. Sent it off, and he took it home. So I no longer have a P20, but it's a great charger. So I guess I will leave you guys with a flying montage. Sure, flying montage. Roll it.
Ground, just get on up when you get knocked down. If you knock me down, I'ma get on up. Top speed when you hit the ground. Just get on up when you get knocked down. Gonna jump right in no matter what. If you knock me down, I'ma get on up. Top speed when you hit the ground. Just get on up when you get knocked down. right in no matter what. If you knock me down, I'ma get on up. Top speed when you hit the ground. Just get on up when you get knocked down. Gotta jump right in no matter what. If you knock me down, I'ma get on up. Top speed when you hit the ground. Just get on up when you get knocked down.